So, welcome to the podcast Wine Roots. I'm here with the legend, with the ranch lead, Max Manoukian. Hello, Max.
What's up, JC?
So, first of all, I want to start with the beginning, Max. So, who are you?
Like you said, I'm Max.
Okay, Max. And what's like, okay, you grew up here in California?
Yeah, I grew up in Healdsburg.
Okay.
Yeah.
And for how long you've been like in the industry?
I started as an intern in 2016.
Okay.
I worked a couple summer jobs for vineyards beforehand too, but started like full-time-ish in 16, 17.
Okay, so growing up in Hillsburg, you always had like the curiosity and you're the willing to be in the wine industry?
Yeah, so my dad has like a couple acres of vineyards.
Okay.
I did some stuff with him a little bit growing up, but it's kind of like his hobby, so
Okay.
he didn't really like have me help him out with a whole bunch. And then wasn't super interested in doing wine stuff, but after college was just like the best job I could get, like
Okay.
best pay and like availability and stuff. So I just kind of like started. I knew I always wanted to be an ag. And it just kind of like morphed into wine stuff.
Okay.
Tried to do a little beer stuff, but yeah, ended up in wine. So
Because
just,
right
like,
here,
kept rolling with it.
Sonoma is like a pretty like an ag community, right? Like there's a
Yeah.
lot of orchards, farming.
Yeah, super diverse in Sonoma. There's a lot of dairies too, especially organic dairies.
Okay.
We got some apples, a little bit of like ocean stuff, with like oysters and whatnot, and yeah, a bunch of grapes.
And so when you go to college, what was your major?
Ag business.
So you knew it? Like,
Yeah, I knew I was gonna be an ag. I didn't know I was gonna be in the grapes. I did like FFA and 4-H growing up, so I was doing like ag stuff growing up, and so I was able to like get scholarships if I wanted to study ag in college, and I was not gonna be able to pay for college without scholarships. So kind of just like rolled with that, and like business was the most like broad ranged one. So just
It's my same major.
yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And you went to
Chico State, Harvard of the West, baby.
Chico. I heard some trashy stuff about Chico State.
No, it's
Like
great.
all the
Great school.
people from San Luis Obispo, like from Slow, they be like Chico State. Like,
That's because they can't hang with us. Dude.
Oh really?
Yeah.
What about UC Davis?
They're alright.
They're
They can't
alright?
hang either.
Okay,
Bunch
so
of nerds.
Chico State, all others.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's not a whole lot of ag schools in California, so it was like the few of us always like talk crap to each other. And,
Okay.
like,
Do they have a
Look fun.
viticulture or something for grapes?
no viticulture. They did have one wine class, but it was a wine tasting class, which is like very like on brand for Chico.
Yeah, man, what type of wine you were trying?
Dude, all sorts of wines. It was just like every week they would give you like a type of wine to try, like dry white wines or like dessert wines or like red wines. And then it was whatever we talked about in the class, and you had to like pair it with some meal and like write about it. So my friends and I that were in the class would just like cook dinner together on Tuesdays, get a bunch of bottles of wine, and like get a nice little buzz on and like hang out every Tuesday. So it was pretty
Chug the
fun.
bottle of
Yeah,
wine.
it was pretty fun.
Yeah.
And we still like all stay in contact and like
What was your
stuff,
grade in
so.
that class? Do you pass that class?
A+,
I
baby.
bet, man.
Yeah.
A++++.
Yeah.
Cool,
Yeah.
cool. So, graduated from college and then right away you made your internship?
Yeah, I got an internship in Sonoma. I was either going to do the viticulture research one or grow relations. I ended up going with grow relations, just seemed a little bit more like kind of what I was more interested in. I like working with people opposed to like a bunch of like data, which the research was doing. So, yeah.
So you get like, when you were in grow relations, you get to travel to Napa County, Mendocino.
Yeah, Solano.
Oh, Solano.
Mendocino, Solano, Lake County, Napa County, Sonoma County. I think that was it.
Have you ever, like, when you were growing up, have you ever been in those places before?
Yeah, I driven by a lot of them before,
Yeah.
or like just been around them before. Hadn't been to like any of the vineyards really, maybe one or two. But yeah, I got to see like a lot of the counties around, and like Sonoma County in particular, like a lot. which is super cool now.
Okay.
And like, no, there's like, I was an intern, and the interns come every year, right? So like, a lot of the growers don't like try to get to know them, but there's like one or two that I still like see around and talk to. But yeah, it was cool. Got to see a lot, see how everyone's doing stuff like differently throughout the county, not like everyone does the same thing.
Also from different AVAs, it changed.
Yeah. So it was like exposure to a lot of different varieties: Pinot Chardonnay in West County, Cabs in up here in Merlot, and then you got some Sauv Blanc and stuff up in Lake County that we got, and the Napa Cab and the different like AVAs where I didn't really know anything about the like where they were so much in like Napa or whatnot. So
probably for growers, Carneros is one of the big ones.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah, we go out there for some Pinot and stuff, and like just crazy to see like how everyone deals with their own thing, and like Carneros, it's like the birds and the disease pressure is so crazy up there, and then in Lake County and like Mendo, people are like trying to do like organic stuff because it's a way that they can like boost their prices a little bit because they don't get paid as much as we do, and just seeing like the stuff that they dealt with, and then the heat that Alexander Valley was dealing with, and
then you see like all the fruit thinning in Napa.
The crazy vineyard setups and like designs and like the quality control that they do, either excessively or to what their program is.
So after the internship, you did get the full time with this company.
Yeah, I got hired on right afterwards. I think it was right before harvest. The guy whose role I filled left the company, and so they like kind of managed for a couple months, and then I was working with my hiring manager here when I got my full-time job. I worked with him a little bit during my internship for like a project that we were working on, and he was helping me with a lot of like the back end like data stuff. So
you start pretty young.
What's up?
You start pretty young.
Yeah.
And now like when you're starting now as a ranch lead, what would be like one of the challenges, like one of the best experience and challenge that you would like had to go through that you remember?
Well, geez, so I really did not know what to do the first day showing up. I started in January, and like we were pruning, and like kind of knew how to prune, like had pruned a little bit, but barely. And so like getting here, and it's like, I had my hiring manager and one other person who's kind of like my mentor, helped me a lot. But everyone's super busy, doing their own job, and it's like this new guy that has to be like showed everything. So essentially it was like, I need some of the guys that have been working here forever to like teach me everything. And they all speak Spanish, and I barely spoke Spanish, so I was like learning Spanish on the fly, trying to learn as much as I can. And that's been like one of my favorite things from the job is like I'm getting paid to learn how to speak another language, and like been able to use that traveling, and like hopefully like get way better at it and keep using it.
But honestly, like I'm listening to you, like your Spanish, like when I first listened to you, I was like, at least he had to do like some classes, because it's like, so how it's hard, like it's like the Spanish that you take in classes, like it's like formal and that, but then like in the vineyard and with people you have like different vocabulary. And when you were talking with them, I was like, damn, where did you learn that? Because
it's all from the guys.
Exactly.
And
that's pretty funny, because you have to manage like that, and at the end of the day, like they have to make them understand, and you also have to make yourself understand. And I kind of feel like, honestly, for real, Max, that your Spanish is like right there, man.
That's it. I like that. Yeah, I mean, I feel like in English I speak a lot of like non-formal or pretty informal with like everyone, so it's like kind of just felt natural to pick that up.
Exactly. Like for example, like that time when I showed up late, and then people were like, what did they say? Like, about the gallo.
You taught me that the day before, and they thought that was so funny.
Exactly. That's amazing. And do you know already like how to say like, for example, because he was teaching me like how to print and everything. He's my mentor right here. And like so when I was telling you, I didn't know how to do like the steak. And I was saying the Spanish estaca, and you have to get it. Because people sometimes they don't know how to say in English. And you have to be aware for both language. Now we're gonna start like hiring people from freaking French to learn French. Imagine. That would be sick.
I gotta tackle Spanish first.
I mean, you did so far so great. Yeah. And okay, so within this company, like you start intern, then ranch leader away, and then you've been here for like almost 5 years. And for example, like where do you see yourself probably like in 4 years, 5 years?
That's a really good question. That's like the $1 million question for
Yeah,
everyone.
exactly.
So like our age, kind of establishing themselves as young professionals. But I like to stay in the industry. There's actually like money to be made in grapes. It's kind of like tough for farming and other industries, especially if you like don't have land or your family hasn't done it before. So which is also hard in grapes, but you can make do. I love to stay in it. It's really fun. It's not like other industries also where it's like when we get together and we're like talking to other people in the industry, we're like drinking like super like beautiful, tasty wine, like having a great time. So it's like sick. It's very fun. But yeah, I just like keep learning, like wanting to develop my like skills and knowledge of the industry and hopefully being able to manage more people.
Okay.
I really like working with people. That's like my favorite thing. I could be over like a lot of the other stuff that I have to do, but yeah, I'd like to be able to manage people and like mentor people and teach people. So hopefully like managing people in my position in a couple of years. Like focusing more on like big picture stuff and not so much like the day to day like monotonous stuff at the ranch.
Yeah. So would you like to keep like in the vineyard 100% involved?
Yeah, I'd like to stay in the vineyard. I mean, I wouldn't have a problem with doing something else, but I'm probably not qualified for a lot of other things.
Okay.
So I would be really interested in getting some more like knowledge and experience in the winery, just to be like more well-rounded and better at my job, but not necessarily to be a winemaker. But there is like it seems like it would be very beneficial for me to know more stuff in the winery, and a lot of the people in the winery come out and try to learn what we're doing as well, because it's super beneficial for them. So it should be like a pretty two-way street.
I don't know. I don't know how you feel about this, but like ever since I started work here, I kind of like realized early that there's a big gap between like the vineyard and what the winemakers like kind of want.
Yeah.
And my mentality, I was thinking this way, like a good wine like is 80% the vineyard and the farming.
Yeah.
So
at least 80%.
At least, no, exactly. Like there's so much, man. It's like the soil, like water, like it's crazy. Like the type of pruning, like everything.
Yeah, and like you said, the soil, like a lot of that is like stuff that I can't even control, or like in the vineyard you can't control. Like we like to think, like 80-90% is us, and then the last 10% is in the winery. But a lot of that 80 is not even things that the management can control. It's all where you're at, what you're growing. Like we could spend so much money trying to manicure and like farm these vines to be like the highest quality, and it still wouldn't even like touch some of the stuff in like the perfect condition, or like mountain Napa cab, So it just kind of depends on where you're at.
Nature.
But everything has a program and everything has a customer too. So
exactly. There's different targets, markets.
Yeah.
The other thing that is crazy, like now that you say like the weather and things that we can like work on it, is like, for example, like the vine does everything by themselves. Like literally the vine, what they do, like they take the water from the rain, turn it into freaking wine by themselves, like for real. It's crazy. And I actually like, I was curious about what you were doing in this block, in this ranch, where you cut a shoot and like the grapes get out of racing.
Oh yeah.
What was that for?
So that's like a style that we do called dried on the vine. It's to like help build a certain profile in the wine that we're really looking for, which is like really dark and jammy. Essentially, like you said, dried fruit, raisins. Raisins have like a very different taste than just like even like a very ripe grape, right? It's like a prune or something like that. There's like a lot of sugar in there. So what you do is essentially cut the canes, usually on a cane prune vine, or on a cane prune vine, kind of about where you would prune it to, and you let the grapes dehydrate on the vine, and you pick it after like anywhere from a week to 2 weeks after.
Okay.
So essentially, what you're doing is you're trapping whatever like flavors are in the grape at that time of the cut, because it's no longer like getting any development from the vine. It's just dehydrating.
Okay.
So all your flavors are concentrated. There's no longer water when you pick it. So it's not like super helpful for like production and tonnage. But we do it to meet a certain program, and it's like maybe 50 to 75 tons out of the huge program. So it's kind of like a small percentage, but it really like adds a profile to the wine that the winemaker's looking for. And it was kind of specific to that program. That program we're no longer like making that program, but we've used it a couple times just as like a tool to kind of help us out.
Yeah, and as you say, like tools, for example, there's like other farm techniques when you realize that your vine is too vigorous and you don't want like the green flavors. What you do in that?
Yeah, so I mean, there's a lot of like irrigation stuff you can do for that, or like canopy control. A lot of that too starts from planting. You know, you're in a vigorous zone. What kind of rootstocks you're gonna put on there? What kind of cultivars you're gonna put on there? If you're somewhere vigorous, and in the past you've had a lot of green flavors, like you don't want to plant something that green flavors are really noticeable and like impact negatively the wines, like Cabernet or Merlot. Plant something like Sauvignon Blanc that kind of tastes green anyway. It's not a big deal. But you can pick a weaker rootstock also, one that's not going to be like shooting down in the soil like St. George and just like growing your vine crazy, you know. So you can pick and choose from the very beginning, and then you're managing irrigation mostly for those sort of flavors, but also sometimes like direct sunlight, so leafing or hedging can work some of those flavors out of the grapes too over time. And
that also like requires your attention in the vineyard like 24/7 all the time.
Yeah. For the most part.
Yeah, for the most part, exactly. There's always part for fun.
I mean that's why like it's hard for like one person to do it. So we have like a guy who's been doing the irrigation here for 15 years and knows every single block and every set and every single block and how to get water there, how to turn it off, how to turn it on, what usually like dries out earlier, so what we're going to be getting water on earlier in the season, what we need to be focusing on more. It's huge to have a huge team, big team that can like help with that.
Do you think like have you learned a lot from your team, like the
people I mean like the team that I work with of like managers, like a lot of them have taught me a lot of things, but I'd say like a lot of the day-to-day stuff out in the vineyard, pruning, shoot thinning, all the cultural practices I learned mostly from some of the supervisors. Most of the like tractor like driving stuff, like learn from the guys, like tips and tricks about stuff, just asking questions. And it's easy when you're young and new like to be able to ask questions and people like teach you, but after a couple of years, you know, it's like you better start learning this on your own and getting some of your own experience. So but most of the guys are super helpful because they know it super well, and instead of someone who doesn't know like trying to supervise them or teach them in the field, it's like they can teach me way better, and that helps them with their skill as well, you know. You're always going to be, you're more knowledgeable about something when you can teach it, so.
Exactly. Actually they say that that's the best way to learn, teaching it. Because I get that, because now in this work, like, sometimes I feel like I'm spending too much time in the computer as I would like to. But when I was working in this company in Napa, like, I remember I didn't know anything about the vine. I never seen a vine in my life. And this dude, like, he, like, knew everything about, he was working there for, like, probably, like, 30 years. And one day he was, like, we were working, like, we were lifting, and he was like, I think variation is going to start, like, in probably 2 weeks. I'm not gonna lie to you. 2 weeks, he's like, here's variation. Like he knew the vineyard, like everything. And there's the people that they're every single day in these vineyards. It's like super beneficial to take the knowledge from those guys, right? Like they know it super well. They've been doing it for so long. Like it's invaluable information. Well, out of like the vineyards you work, like, do you have like any favorite like type of grape to work with, or like favorite farming technique?
Um, I would say like so far it seems like I mean I haven't grown a lot of stuff,
Yeah.
but like cab is just so easy.
Okay.
Like or not so easy, but a lot easier because
Okay.
it's like very resistant or not resistance, but it's got like thick skin,
Yes,
small
sir.
berries. Like it doesn't really like have a whole lot of disease pressure within it. There's I don't know. It's just like seems kind of straightforward. You can have some green problems and stuff like that, but like the Zin that we have sometimes, is like having issues with potassium deficiency, this and that. You got bunch rot. You got these huge clusters. But cab's like pretty straightforward. I do like some other varieties like wine drinking a little bit better, but like cab's pretty straightforward for the most part. So love to grow Pinot at some time. I know that's a little bit like more finicky and like pretty tough to grow, but it seems like a cool challenge.
Pinot, I mean, cab is a survivor. You put cab and it grows. Yeah, it's a survivor. And the other thing, like for example, if money is not a problem, land is not a problem, and somebody tell you like, you know what, Max, I know your knowledge, your experience. Let's develop this vineyard in this place of the world. Like whatever place in the world you tell me and whatever variety you tell me, we're going 100% with you.
That's super tough.
Super tough. Like I've been thinking this question like for almost 3 years and I have an answer. So like you can. There's no wrong answers.
Like I'd say, just because like where I grew up, Dry Creek's in. Holds like a special part in my
homeboy.
Yeah, and it's like very underrated, not talked about, even though it is kind of like Dry Creek's in is like very popular or whatever. So, but it's definitely not given the credit it's due.
Okay.
I love Zin. It's probably my favorite like red wine.
Okay.
Pinot, Zin, but yeah, super cool. I'd probably do that. That'd be sweet. I mean, if I'm trying to make money, probably a Napa
Money's not a problem.
I think it'd be super cool to do something international. I got to see a little bit of like Armenia's wine country when I was there with my family, and that would be super fun. I don't know really like what varieties they were growing because they were all speaking Armenian, and I don't speak like any Armenian.
There's nothing good Armenian.
But there's some really good wine there, so that would be fun. Yeah, and I mean that's like where wine was first invented.
Yeah, that will work.
So, yeah, it'd be really cool to do that as well.
Actually, now that you say about the Zinfandel from Dry Creek, the first time I actually harvest, because I came like for a period of time in the summer, so I didn't get to harvest until last year.
Yeah.
I harvest John Telvetsky Ranch.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and it was Zin.
Was it the one down here in the
valley?
one
in his house.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, the block in front of his house.
Yeah.
And I was like harvesting, and he comes out, and he grabbed like the cluster, and he was like, bite it, and I was like, really? And I bit the Zin, and he was like, this is the best Zinfandel of the world. Dry Creek Valley Zinfandel.
Right.
Yeah.
They're very proud of it.
No, exactly.
It's good stuff. There's not a lot of it too, so.
Yeah, and the cluster is like huge.
Yeah. Yeah, big cluster, big berries, a lot of weight.
Yeah, and
Old Vine Zin is just like crazy.
It's gnarly too, like the shape. Like, have you had this wine? Gnarly, actually, the by Monterosa.
Yeah,
it's really
one
good,
of my favorite wines.
And also there's another one that
it's like 130-year-old.
And the rattlesnake.
Yeah, that's pretty good too.
We should go to that one. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think I have a couple.
Nice, yeah. I think I give everything away. Yeah, I'll probably
drink it.
Yeah, I don't know about that. No, I'll probably drink it. Yeah. So okay, we're almost done. I want to take this podcast towards the end. So Max, do you have a message to the people that wants to start because this main goal, like, I kind of don't like when people try to make wine exclusive.
Yeah.
When they're like, oh, you don't know about this, so you can talk about it.
Yeah.
So I would like to encourage people, like, for real, to at least give it a chance to try wine once a week and try different varieties of grapes and get into this amazing, like, world, actually. I'll get, like, probably, like, go into the vineyards, like, go a little bit more research about what they're drinking. What would you recommend to people that they wanted to do it, but they like kind of felt like, oh, I don't want to get anything wrong. I don't want people to judge me. Like, what would you say to those people that are there?
Well, we make like a lot of different wines, right? We make some cheaper wines. We make some really expensive wines. I don't think like a price or like a variety or someone saying like this wine is bad is really appropriate, because there's so many different things that people like, and the way that we're making it too isn't to fit like everyone likes this. It's either one of our cheaper wines, but it tastes the same every single year. Someone really likes the flavor profile of that wine, so they buy it every single year. That's their go-to bottle. Like, that is something special and like important in the industry. And then we have some of the older or more expensive stuff where it's, like it's a vineyard designate, so it's coming from one little spot, and that changes year to year. It changes a couple times throughout the year. There's a lot of different factors that can influence that. So those change. The winemakers kind of have to do with what they're given. And that's also like very special and like a talent in itself, making those wines. So everything, there's a wine for everyone. It's kind of cliche, but it is true. And like, you shouldn't feel bad for the kind of wine that you like. Other people are like talking crap about it. And then also, personally, like there is a big difference between a $3 bottle of wine and a $30 bottle of wine. I think so. Like, but you can't always drink a $30 bottle of wine, but you can always drink the $3. So pick and choose your battles. But personally, I don't think there's a huge difference between a $30 bottle and like a $300 bottle.
Okay.
The difference between the 3 and the 30 is much bigger than the 30 and the 300.
Okay.
So don't be super intimidated thinking that you have to buy expensive wines to like get into it and like know what you're talking about. Like, yeah, those are cool, those are exclusive, but like they're not for everyone. And like a lot of the really expensive wines that I've had are like all right. Some of them are even bad. Like, for me, like, I don't think they taste good, so why would I spend money on that when I could buy an $8 bottle that I know is solid, super good? I love drinking it, like, so that's probably my like wine drinking tip.
Excellent. Yeah. So, rattlesnake tonight?
Yeah.
Thank you, Max.
Of course, dude.
See you guys.